right. Hey, everybody. Episode 7 of Behind the Scenes with Ben and Lynley. It is episode 7, the number of perfection, Lynley.
Oh,
In the Bible, this has to be perfect.
there's a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah. So anyway, we just came out of church and I just preached the sermon about Nehemiah chapter 8, the joy of the Lord being our strength.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about C.S. Lewis's book, Surprised by Joy, and how he talked about how these little moments of beauty and wonder woke him up to the idea that maybe there's another world. And he even mentioned his brother Warney's little biscuit tin.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made us think, you and I had discussion about this idea of sacred pathways.
Right.
There's this book we love to recommend called Sacred Pathways by Gary Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a book about how everybody has their own Garden of Gethsemane, their place where they feel closest to God. So Jesus often went to the Garden of Gethsemane. He felt close to the Father there. So each of us has a place like that, and it's not always, the full answer is not always read your Bible more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get closer to God, we typically say, well, read your Bible more. But he does an amazing job of talking about the different spiritual temperaments.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are they? There's 9, I think.
9. He also doesn't discount reading our Bible. I mean, we
Yeah.
do that in addition to these
Correct.
things. I'll read the 9 really fast, and then we'll talk about ours.
Okay.
So the 9 are naturalist, loving God outdoors. I just did that one because that's my favorite.
I know.
Sensates, traditionalist, ascetics, activist, caregivers, enthusiasts, contemplatives, and intellectuals.
Lots of big words.
Lots of big words, but there is a test at the end of this book that you take to understand. And when we did it, I mean, I was just off the charts, naturalist. Like, that's where I worship God most.
The way I love to
in
talk
nature.
about it is that each of these is kind of like your love language with God, the way you love to love God,
Mm-hmm.
and you love to be close to God in nature.
Mm-hmm. So there's a quote that I loved, and it said, God will speak to us through creation if we will only listen. If you feel as though your time in front of books or listening to sermons, not your sermons, of course, has become stagnant, grab a coat, pick up a walking stick, and step outside into a school that never closes. And I do love that because you talk about all the time, if you could go back to school and get another degree, you would. You constantly would. And to me, when I finished my bachelor's degree in college, that was it. I was done. There has never been another desire for me to go back. I did try. I did like 3 classes at Liberty online, but I really basically had you help me with all of them because I just could not do it.
Yeah. Well, but you connect with God outdoors. Like you send pictures to our kids of turtles and mushrooms.
Well, because there was this most perfect red, like fairy tale gnome mushroom growing in our neighbor's yard the other
Yeah,
day.
but you're
and
the
I
only
thought,
person on the family thread that
I
sends
do
pictures.
save caterpillars too that are going across the street. Like if they're fuzzy and crossing the street, we must save them before they get run over by a car.
And you're just really into animals, and you love to go to the zoo,
Love the zoo.
all kinds of nature things. So,
Yep.
and I've said this, I'd rather go to an amusement park than a national park. I know
Yeah,
that breaks your heart.
I know it does. When you see animals, when you see creation, it just definitely magnifies like how God created all them.
I get it.
But you talk
It
about yours.
provokes a sense of wonder. Like I'm an intellectual. I want to
Mm-hmm.
read the part on me because I don't like the way that sounds. I'm a super smart person.
I'm an intellectual.
Now, this is what he says. Don't be misled by the title intellectual. It has nothing to do with IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, it describes those whose hearts are most warm toward God when they understand new concepts and new insights or increased comprehension about God.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like I love to just get a cup of coffee and read for a couple of hours and learn new things,
Yes.
which has fed my habit of reading over the years because that's how I feel close to God. So, I mean, I can still remember certain classrooms where a professor said something and it was like, that is so good. Like a brilliant insight. I love insightful people.
I've never had that moment.
Well,
Actually, you read and then you're like, I really want to talk about this with you. And I say, I do too. Outside. Let's go for a walk and talk about
Yeah,
it. And then I'm not
the
really,
best of both
I'm really not
worlds.
even listening to you. I'm just kind of walking beside you.
yeah. I just love how this resource helps us apply what we just preached about. There's a sense of wonder that we all have in different ways.
We did not just preach about
Well,
that. Let's
that
be
I
very
just
careful.
preached, yeah.
Yes, you preached.
So Gary Thomas, Sacred Pathways, you can get it in our bookstore or in our library. We've got it there for you. So, all right. So enough on that.
Pivot.
Let's pivot. So next up, it's Family Worship Sunday.
Today was family worship.
Yeah.
People ask us often, what are parenting books you like? What's a quote from them that you have enjoyed? And so we did this the last time, talked about a quote from a book, but I'm going to do mine. So I just recently read this because we're entering this season of doing life with your adult children. Keep your mouth shut and the welcome mat out.
Keep your mouth shut.
Keep your
and
mouth
the
shut
welcome.
and the welcome mat out.
Okay.
So the part I liked, it just said, C.S. Lewis once said, change always involves a sense of loss. And it says, Kathy and I, the author and his wife, Kathy and I have conflicting feelings about our girls growing up. We know we are no longer in the forefront of their minds as they are in ours, and that's how it should be. We know that for them to thrive, they need to move away from us emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Maturity often requires making adjustments to our hopes, dreams, and lifestyles. And I just think that's really interesting. Today is Jack's 18th birthday, so our baby is now technically an adult.
Yep.
We're definitely transitioning. I've had at least 10 people ask me today if I'm doing okay with our baby turning 18, and it hasn't. I'm like, maybe I should be more emotional because everybody else is more emotional than me about this. But I think reading this has really helped me to realize, like, it is good and right for us to think of our children more than they think of us. Like,
Yeah.
they need to leave the house and they need to be in college, making friends, thinking about their careers, meeting friends, all that stuff more
Well, I
than
try
us.
to think back when I was in college. I wasn't walking around campus very often wondering what my parents were doing.
Gosh, when we were in college, we had like a calling card and we called our parents every Sunday at like 2 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, they're living their lives.
Yeah.
And we've raised them to go and live their lives. And now we support them, not ask them to emotionally prop us up. I just came out of the service where a family came up and introduced themselves. They had 4 kids. Their daughter is about to leave for college. And you could see the sadness in mom and dad's eyes. The first one was the hardest.
First is hard. It is.
But there is a shift that we have to make. Yeah.
What
I have
about
a
you?
quote.
Yep.
Robert Lewis wrote a book, Raising a Modern Day Knight, about raising sons. And he has this quote about his dad, and it's always stuck with me. He said, "My dad worked hard. He provided for our family. We were a solid middle-class family. And I do have a number of pleasant memories from my boyhood. But when my dad walked through the door at the end of a long day, his influence began to fade. He became the invisible dad." And then here's the line that really hit me. "My dad's inner world was a mystery to me." And I remember reading that when our kids were little and just thinking, I don't want my kids to have complete cluelessness about what goes through my heart and mind. Like, I want to open up with them. I want to share with them my experience as a middle-aged man going through the walk of life and not seal off myself from them.
Yeah.
And I just know, like, a lot of men especially, like, we like want to keep everything in. And we particularly don't want to admit when we're afraid or when we're facing something that feels like it's bigger than us. But I've just tried to, over the years, remember that. Like, it helps our kids when they can sense, wow, dad's a human being too. He's struggling with forgiveness or fear or whatever. So I've just always tried to apply that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do a life group question.
Life group question, and I'm going to ask this one of you and let you answer fully.
Okay.
We got this probably one of our first life groups. It says, why don't you speak more on political topics from the pulpit?
Why don't I address politics?
Which is interesting because if you go back to that Sacred Pathways, there's an activist role. That's my second after naturalist. And she was just saying, why are you not saying more? Why are you not standing up more for it? And so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, my answer to this goes back to Luke chapter 12. I looked up this passage. A man interrupts Jesus and says, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Essentially, he wanted Jesus to step into a dispute and settle once and for all who's right and who's wrong. And Jesus says, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter over you?" And the response has always struck me. It's not that Jesus is unconcerned with justice or with societal's ills. He just knew that his number one purpose in coming to the planet was to seek and to save the lost.
Yeah.
So he was going to stay on script. He was going to make sure he preached the kingdom of God and not politics. And when people tried to drag him into politics, he was always reluctant to do so. You remember the time when people were like, should we pay our taxes?
Give
Do
Caesar.
you think we should pay our taxes? And he said, give Caesar what you owe Caesar, give to God what you owe to God, which is your whole life. And so Jesus had a way of turning from politics to spiritual and eternal things. And here's the thing that I want to say. I do think it's important to be an informed voter. I do think it's important to appreciate our country and to vote the right people into office. But scripturally speaking, we are rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. This whole thing's going down. And so no matter what we do in putting the right people into office, the world is not going to be utopia. It's not going to solve all of our problems. So the deepest problems are solved by preaching the gospel. So if I've got 30 minutes on a Sunday to preach to a crowd of people, I just want to make sure that I preach the gospel and don't get into politics too much that divide people. I've just seen so many people get distracted by politics.
Yeah.
It becomes a stump for them. So
Yeah.
that's my answer.
Okay.
I do think government is important.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Something fun.
Something fun.
We like a little fun.
Let's do it.
Okay. What's a strange little thing that I do that you would miss if I disappeared?
Okay. It's a strange thing you do that I would miss if you just suddenly vanished.
Yep.
All right. So you have this thing that has grown. You think you can, Lynley thinks she can talk to deer.
Well, no, I just try to talk to
So
them.
when we go for walks in the morning, we will occasionally see deer, which is always beautiful. And you have developed this little, it's like a deer call. Like
And it never works.
It's like I've never seen a
It's
deer
like
take a step near us.
Well, it's
after
like a
this.
horse sound. I just don't know the difference. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm like,
You're calling in the deer.
they look. They
do
always
look.
they look and then they run away.
The other day, I was like, the deer are thinking like, oh, there's that weird lady.
There's that crazy lady with the click.
The clacking lady. I would miss that.
You would go on a walk and see a deer and have to do that for me.
I would go on a walk and wonder who's going to call in the deer
Mhm.
now that she's gone.
Okay, so Ben has this. We call it socks in his pocket because at
It's a
night.
nightly ritual.
So at night, he says has no rituals, but he always has to make sure the coffee is ready for the
Coffee's
next morning.
made.
And then in his pajama pants, he puts a pair of socks in the pocket of his pajama pants. So like we have to have pajama pants that have
Pockets. It's where my socks
or
go.
you would say pajama from being from up
Yeah.
north. And so I always at the end of the night, I'm like, do you have your socks in your pocket? Because when he wakes up, he gets up at like 4 a.m. And when he wakes up, I'm like, you sure better not wake me up. And so
Oh.
have all your belongings
I
to
can't
where
come back in to get the socks.
no, so he has to gather off the floor his pants, which have his socks in his pocket because his feet can't get cold, like a sweatshirt, a hoodie, no matter everything. So
You know, it's weird how human beings are. Like, I was around this guy the other day. Like, he was having a full conversation on the phone with the whole room listening to his conversation. Like, I have this fear that people are like, I'm being annoying people. Like, if I get a phone call, I go outside like I'm on the Secret Service.
mhm.
And some people just don't get, like, I hate waking you up in the morning. It's like one of my least, when I feel like I've woken you up.
It's one of my least favorite things too.
I know. So that's why I put socks in the pocket. Socks in the pocket.
So I'd miss it if something happened to you and I'd be like, do you have your socks in your pocket?
I want to hear from other people out there. I'll bet there's other men that put socks in the pocket.
I bet there's not. I bet you are the only one.
I have a feeling this week we'll hear from somebody who puts their socks in the
They're
pocket.
just sucking up.
All right, let's end on a high note.
Okay.
We always try to end on a high note, keep it
Yep.
positive. What's a beautiful moment you've had with Bellevue this week?
Yeah. So Wednesday night we had a deacon officer and wife gathering. And then Thursday night I was at a life group gathering of women from the Stephen Laurie Williams Sunday School group or life group. And both of them the Wednesday night meeting ended us, we were all in prayer. I mean, all in a circle praying and hands held. And the people's prayers for the church, for the city, for us were so deep that, I mean,
Sincere.
I just left in tears. And I mean, I know I could hear you beside me just really into the prayers too, because you could just understand it.
Yeah.
And then Thursday night, I was with this group of ladies and they gave me all these ideas. They called it Bluff City Best. And it was all these things in Memphis that are the best restaurants, best things to do. But the highlight from that, let me get it.
Oh, show and tell.
Show and tell.
Another round of show and tell. I love this.
Okay.
Can y'all see this?
Camera, can you see this?
That is a sack of chipmunks.
So this is a chipmunk bag, and it's full of Cheerios. Oh, they're backwards. So
Honey
there's
Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut
Based on a
Cheerios.
previous episode.
Yes. And she said, I also like Honey Nut Cheerios, but I don't necessarily store them in my cheek. And I said, well, you should store them in your cheek because it might taste better. But it was just funny
That
that
was
they
so
were
funny.
listening and making a joke out of it, and it made my night. I just
So
thought it was so
thoughtful.
fun.
Here's mine. Last Sunday on the screen, it was announced who's going to the Southern Baptist Convention, and my name wasn't up there.
Mhm.
And so some people were like, hey, why isn't the pastor going to the SBC? I really felt the Lord tell me when we first got here that year one, I should stay home and take care of like getting to know Bellevue. And Camp Outrageous is the same week as the SBC, and I'm going to be a major skit character
Major.
Maybe not major.
Delivery
But I'm
guy.
going to be a delivery guy
Yes.
in Camp Outrageous. And I'm so excited to be with the kids. And like, this is going to be the year where I just really focus on Bellevue. So I'll go back next year to the Southern Baptist Convention, but this year is the year of being at Bellevue. And I'm just so excited. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year coming up when we have so many children. You know, Jesus said, do not let the little children, do not hinder them from coming to me. And I just want a quick shout out to our friend Mark Blair, who's in heaven. Mark's dream was to provide something at church that felt a little bit like what kids experience, like at Disney. And so this is a sweet week to remember Mark's legacy here as well, as we do next week, Camp Outrageous. So there we are.
You just said you'll be back. Does that mean I'm not going back to this?
You're going with me.
I'm going with you.
Yeah, we got
we'll
lots
be
of friends.
back.
We'll go
Yeah.
back to see our
It
friends.
is fun. Yeah, we do like
it
that
will
part.
be. All right, well, there we go. 15 minutes, 31 seconds.
Nice. Almost did it.
We did close. Hey, next time, episode 8. See you then.